over. It is time now for projections. Out of 5 assembly constituencies, 5 states, 4 of them, in fact, were with the BJP. So clearly, it's a prestige battle for the BJP. Who is in the pole position? That's what we are going to tell you on Urban Debate tonight. For the last few months, the 5 states, including Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Goa, Manipur and Uttarakhand, have seen high-octane campaigning by political parties. Elections were held in phases in several of these states, especially in UP. Finally, today, polling has successfully concluded and now all eyes are going to be on the exit polls. While the counting of votes and the final result will be announced on 10th of March, tonight we get you the curtain raiser ahead of the big day Thursday.
And we'll get you a poll of all exit polls that will get you key projections of who will clinch the mandate in these 5 states, what is at stake, who will win and who will change the political landscape of the country.
And that's going to be our key focus, Archana. What is it that the numbers are telling you so far? Who really is looking doing pretty well as far as the state of Punjab? Let's begin with Punjab and tell our viewers about how the numbers are looking like. I believe you have all the data on Punjab ready?
Absolutely, Hina. Some very provocative and bold numbers have come in for Punjab. Let's take a look at our screen now. This is Times Now veto projection. Now look at AAP's numbers. It is projected to win 70 seats and sweep Punjab. If these exit poll projections are true, then AAP is set to looking to form the government. Congress, however, there is a big thumbs down from the voters of Punjab. Projections are 22 seats for the Congress party. BJP plus 5, that means captain factor has not worked really. Akali Dal and BSP alliance has managed 19 seats, while 1 seat has gone to others. So I must say that AAP has managed to spring a surprise in these assembly elections as per the Times Now veto exit polls.
Well, that's quite interesting, and I like the choice of words, provocative, because clearly the numbers that are going to come out today, Archana, are going to give confidence to some political parties and clearly give trouble to many because, the results clearly are just a few hours away now, less than about 70 odd hours, and what these numbers are going to be telling us will be very, very interesting. But if you're telling us that it's Aam Aadmi Party, which is set to sweep Punjab, it's going to be a paradigm shift, we can say, as far as Punjab's politics is concerned, especially after what happened with Captain Amrinder Singh there, how he moved out of the Congress party, and it definitely is going to raise questions on the grand old party and its connection with Punjab.
Absolutely, Hina, and one of the most interesting aspects of Punjab is that Aam Aadmi Party has always exuded confidence, and remember that bold choice of projecting Bhagwant Man as the Chief Minister's face, them going to the public asking for, a referendum of sorts, and, people could call in and vote for their CM's face, and that also triggered other political parties. Remember, Congress declared their CM candidate after AAP did that, so AAP there taking a lead in all ways, also making some very bold promises of free power, again leading to other parties making similar moves. And Kejriwal from day one said that we are going to form this government, but we'll have to wait and watch when other agencies also give their predictions. This is just Times Now veto exit polls. So this clearly says that AAP is in charge of Punjab or AAP ka Punjab.
Okay, we'll see what eventually happens, Archana, but let's also welcome our guest joining us on the broadcast this evening to discuss the numbers with us. Shweta Shalini, spokesperson of the BJP, is live with us. Dr. Anshul Avijit, national spokesperson of the Congress party, is with us. We are joined by Smita Gupta, senior journalist on the broadcast, and we will, of course, be joined by the spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party as well. Good evening to all of you. Thank you for joining us here on Urban Debate on Mirror Now this evening. Firstly, let's begin the discussion with Dr. Anshul Avijit. So Congress party from 77, now the projection is that it's going to be somewhere around 22. Big disappointment there.
It's too early for disappointments. I mean, we have to hold our horses. Commenting on an exit poll of this nature is like, commenting on something completely counterfactual. Exit polls always have this habit of wishing themselves to be some sort of self-fulfilling prophecies. But you know how error-stricken they all are. So, history tells us that they cannot be counted upon. I'm not undermining the poll at all. I think they're very attractive. They make very compelling TV. I love them. I watch them myself. But I would not take them seriously. I would say that you wait for a couple of days. I mean, there is, barely any time now. You wait till then, because what indications show something completely different. So I'm not going to comment on the presumed defeat of the Congress party. What I will say is that why I think that these polls are wrong, because as far as Punjab is concerned, I think one critical factor was that there was 5% less polling than last time, and I think that is very, very critical. Usually, psychologists now seem to suggest that any rise and fall in percentage of polling is not indicative of the victory or defeat of anyone, but I'll still like to take that very, very seriously. Everything on the ground seemed to suggest that Congress is in a winning position. The choice of chief ministership over there, the way we fought the election, the kind of announcements that he made with regard to welfare schemes as soon as he became chief minister, and a number of other things. The farmers' protest in particular, where the Congress took a leading role, apart from the hundreds of farmers in Punjab, where they were camped in the borders of Delhi, and they went back, and that created an atmosphere. A number of things suggest to me that why these poll figures could be wrong. So I would wait till then. I do not think that this has been the case at all. Particularly when you look at the various areas of Majha, of Malwa, and the Doaba region. I think that, in the bellwether region of Malwa, I think we'll do particularly well. Last time round, if you remember, all the exit polls actually gave a huge advantage, a gross overestimation of the number of seats AAP would get.
Right.
Ultimately, did not prove to be true.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Archana, I'm sure Dr. Avijit would not have said the same thing if Congress was getting more numbers.
Yes, and I think this is a disclaimer that everyone puts out in the beginning, that we have to wait and watch for the final numbers, whether it is opinion polls, whether it is exit polls. And it's fair to cut them some slack, because we have to wait for the final numbers, but it always adds to the conversations. It always gives us a mood check of voters. So I'd like to ask the Congress spokesperson that, like you said, that we'll have to wait for March 10th. I want to understand about the Channi factor. It was a big gamble, and while we understand that he's a great TV personality, he's camera friendly, and the way he talks to voters, there is an appeal to Mr. Channi. But getting him at the last moment after that Captain Amrinder Singh episode, what was the Congress thinking, and what were the kind of steps that were taken under him that made the Congress so confident that we have a chance? Because remember, there was Sidhu, there was Channi, and it was a very bold decision to project Mr. Channi as the chief ministerial face. Dr. Avijit, can you hear me?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Did you ask me that question? I'm so sorry.
Yes, it was. It was for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So no. I'm just saying that was an inspired choice. And I think that choice had its repercussions even in other states. I don't think it was a false move at all. In fact, when you have a move of social justice of this nature, which cuts across, across party lines, I mean, it's unprecedented when you have such a move, particularly in a state where you have 33% of the population which are scheduled castes. So this has never happened before. It was an inspired move. It had to happen. It was a necessary move, and it happened. And I think it sent a very, very positive message. Look, there is a presumption here. I mean, I told you before, I like exit polls myself. I think that they are very, very compelling for television, but that doesn't necessarily mean they are correct. And there is a presumption here that, Congress is not doing well. I completely disagree with that. I think the trump card is Mr. Channi. I think the other factors are the announcement made by Mr. Channi after he became CM, and also a number of other factors, including what I've said, the farmers' protest, which was very, very critical, and the low percentage of voting, and the fact that, there was a controversial campaign to AAP, as it happened last time as well. There was gross overestimation of AAP numbers even last time, where a number of polling exit polls gave them a huge amount of majority, or in fact said that it was neck and neck between the Congress and AAP. Ultimately, the AAP had to lick its wounds. I think it's going to happen again this time.
Okay.
Okay. Reena Gupta, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, is also live with us this evening. Reena, thank you for joining us here on Mirror Now. From 20 to about 70, like I mentioned earlier, the numbers, the projections today will be a nightmare for some, but will definitely give confidence to others. So for Aam Aadmi Party, Punjab looks pretty interesting, because it seems that despite a decent political, issue that was there, or farmers' protest, Aam Aadmi Party has done pretty well. At least that's what the numbers are suggesting.
Hina, on the 10th, we'll see it's going to be a clean sweep. I was just on another TV program where, the Access India poll was giving us up to 90 seats, and I'm very sure that is the kind of result we'll see on the 10th. But more than that, Hina, I think what we have to acknowledge is that Aam Aadmi Party, we ran a very, very positive campaign. We ran a campaign on real issues. All the other parties, including Congress, they tried to derail the campaign. We were the only ones who said, this is what we've done in Delhi and this is what we'll do in Punjab. Whether it was the Akalis or the Congresses, they had nothing to say. And I'm very sorry that it took Congress 25 years to realize what is the Dalit, Dalit percentage in Punjab. I mean, they ruled Punjab for 25, 30 years. And just 6 months before the elections, they suddenly it dawns on them what is the percentage of Dalits in Punjab. So the point is that between the Akalis and the Congresses, they have ruined Punjab, and this is a vote for change, and this is a vote for a positive governance model of Kejriwal, which the Delhiites have seen, and we are looking forward to doing similar work in Punjab, Hina. And we'll see again on the 10th as the results come out, and you see it's going to be a clean sweep for us.
Right. All right. Let me now go across to Shweta Shalini, who's BJP spokesperson. Shweta Shalini, thank you for making time. Interesting numbers there. While I know you will say that this is not the final number, this is not the final tally, and you would want to wait for March 10th. But your first response to these numbers, what happened there, in case you have an opinion, because we clearly know that alliance with Captain Amrinder Singh, at least these exit polls are concerned, hasn't worked really.
Yeah, but before this, we had two speakers before me, and I noted something very, very interesting. Anshulji, who's the spokesperson of Congress, said very clearly that I don't take exit polls seriously. I am surprised because his leader also doesn't take politics very seriously. Similarly, if we heard the AAP spokesperson say that, we are going to have a clean sweep, so I also don't believe these exit polls. See, one of the things that as a BJP spokesperson, I want to put down and say that we know that we are going to make a mark, and this is precisely what it is. Second, we need to understand that whatever is going to be the result, the fact of the matter today is that as far as the campaign is concerned, none of the parties did a positive campaign, as was claimed here earlier. Everybody just threw mud and slinged mud at each other. Second, if at all, if you look at Congress, all they spoke about was their Dalit face, and they had infighting within them. If you look at AAP, we know what kind of CM face they gave. We have seen, Punjab has seen the leadership of BJP, but unfortunately, we were not the incumbent there, and we were not expecting marvelous results. But the numbers that you are showing, I am very sure that we are hitting more than this. In our internal numbers are larger numbers than these numbers, and I'm sure that you will see a tweak there. Whichever government comes into, whichever political party comes to power, I am sure Punjab is going back to polls in the next 6 months. And that is the only thing that I'm sure of, and I can say on these exit polls.
Very interesting point you're making. Ravi Srivastava, political analyst, also joining us on the broadcast. Ravi Srivastava, thank you for joining us here on Mirror Now. So while the polls are suggesting probably Aam Aadmi Party is going to surprise everyone, but we just heard the BJP spokesperson here who's now saying that probably another set of polls can be expected in Punjab. She doesn't really believe what the projections are saying. What will you say?
Hina, I don't subscribe to her optimism of having another poll in next 6 months. We had founded Aam Aadmi Party on 24th November 2012, so it is now 10 years. And I'm telling you that this time, this is the second major state Aam Aadmi Party, if all goes well, is going to be the government in Punjab. The halfway mark is only 59, and projections are pretty high. So I'm not suspecting that it will go down anyway much. And a few factors which have worked in AAP's favor. I would say the last 2 days when the Kumar Vishwas episode was blown out of proportion and that Kejriwal's connection with some Gurupreet Singh and some terrorist homestay and all were raised up, I think those have worked in favor of Aam Aadmi Party. Because there was a contest between AAP and Congress only in Punjab. BJP was only riding on a proxy war with the Captain Amrinder Singh, who ruled Punjab for 4.5 years, and the people were fed up with that. The kind of scams had taken place, and even Mr. Channi, who was appointed at the last hour, I think he could not click with the people. So they were looking for an alternative, which AAP is alternative. And the Delhi governance, somehow Delhi and Punjab are very close. So whatever Punjab people are there, they have seen that how the Delhi government has been working, what the work they are doing in the health, education, infrastructure, and women empowerment, everything. So they were very convinced with that. And Ek Mauka Aapnu really clicked. So I think on 10th of March, when the counting starts, the AAP will be in quite a comfortable position, even if not the 70 or 90 seats what the people are saying. But they will be definitely, I'm confident they are going to make a government in Punjab. And definitely the benefits which Arvind Kejriwal has promised, they will be, the Punjab people will definitely enjoy the fruits of those promises. And they'll be better
But
off.
BJP spokesperson doesn't agree with what you are saying. Shweta Shalini, quick response, 10 seconds only, please.
No, I was just wanting to say that Raviji today is behaving like an AAP spokesperson. He also said we started the... So I was wondering why he quit AAP, because we all know the reason how and why
I did not quit AAP.
Second...
I did not quit AAP, ma'am. I did not quit AAP at all. I continue to be a member of the party, madam. But then
so why do you come as a political analyst? Please come as an AAP spokesperson.
No, that's my choice.
Why do you come as a political analyst?
That's my choice, madam. You cannot force me for that.
Please come as AAP spokesperson. Ravi-ji, you forgot. We are fighting only. You are talking about Kumar Vishwas and what happened with Akali. We were fighting only 73 seats. And in accordance with history, we were fighting only 73 seats. We have always fought only 29 seats in Punjab. Please understand this. So pinpointing and saying that, you will see the Hindu vote increasing in favor of BJP. The consolidation has happened. You will see that, and the numbers internally.
People are tired of your Hindu-Muslim politics. Hindu-Sikh politics is gone forever.
Okay. Calm down, both of you. Calm down. Calm down, both of you. One second. We've got some interesting data that we want to share with our viewers. Archana, I believe, has got a poll of polls ready with her for Punjab. Let's read that out for our viewers, Archana, and then we'll go across to Smita Gupta.
Yes, so till now we were discussing about Times Now veto numbers. Now we have poll of polls for Punjab. So let's take our viewers through that. Now, India Today Access My India has projected 1 to 4 seats. The range is 1 to 4 for BJP plus, 19 to 31 for the Congress, 76 to 90 for the Aam Aadmi Party. Like I said, very bold predictions coming in for the Aam Aadmi Party. Akali Dal plus BSP alliance 7 to 11. Now, C Voter has projected 7 to 13 seats for BJP plus, 22 to 28 for the Congress, 51 to 61 for the Aam Aadmi Party, 20 to 26 for Akali Dal Plus, that is the BSP and Akali Dal, and 1 to 5 for others. Today's Chanakya has projected just one seat for the BJP Plus. Congress, 10 seats. Aam Aadmi Party, now look at this, 100 seats have been projected by today's Chanakya for AAP in Punjab and 6 for Akali Dal Plus BSP Alliance. Then ETG Research has projected 3 to 7 for BJP Plus, 27 to 33 for the Congress, 70 to 75 for the Aam Aadmi Party, 7 to 13 for Akali Dal Plus. Now here, if you see the pattern, more or less all agencies have given a lead to the Aam Aadmi Party, saying that Aam Aadmi Party is all set to form the government in Punjab if these exit polls hold true. Hina.
In fact, Reena will be quite happy with today's Chanakya because she expected around 90. I'll come to you on that in just a bit. But Smita Gupta, senior journalist, is also live with us this evening. Thank you very much, Smita, for joining us here on Mirror Now. What do you make of the projections that have come so far in poll of polls specifically and the lead that Aam Aadmi Party seems to be getting? If these numbers are true, what are your takeaways?
Well, I was watching some other channels before I came to this one. And this Punjab is the one state where the polls seem the most, match what we have been hearing over the last few weeks. The fact that the Aam Aadmi Party is set to form the next government in Punjab seems the most credible if one is to go by the reports. And there is a very big reason for this. The major reason, I think, is that people in Punjab were fed up of the establishment political parties, that is both the Congress party as well as the Shiromani Akali Dal, and they wanted a kind of change. The Aam Aadmi Party, of course, is a non-ideological party, and its plus point has been that it talks purely about good governance. And the example of Delhi is there before people. Delhi is, contiguous with Punjab. So there has been that kind of relationship between the two states. So I'm not surprised at all because everyone I had spoken to had said that Aam Aadmi Party was going to form the next government. Right. I think Congress made a very serious mistake by its treatment of Captain Amrinder Singh, because in any case, the Congress was going to face anti-incumbency. But instead of just having anti-incumbency against the Congress, it added to it the kind of treatment that was meted out to Captain Amrinder Singh was absolutely shocking. No matter what he had done. And to make a change 6 months before the elections, because what did you do? You got in Mr. Channi, who may be a perfectly, wonderful person, but in doing so, you try to change the political dynamic of the state. You have had, the manner in which the Aam Aadmi Party has changed the political dynamic is a completely different one. You wanted to use the fact that 32% of the state was Dalit. Now, if you had wanted really to do that, you should have done that 5 years ago. 5 years ago, if you had made Mr. Channi the chief minister after the elections, the last elections, then perhaps you could have built that up. But instead, you broke whatever you had. In the past, the Congress and the Akalis used to divide the Jat vote, which was the premier, the dominant vote in the state. And all other caste groups used to attach themselves to that, which included the Dalits are not one homogeneous group in Punjab. Even Mr. Kanshi Ram, the founder of the Bahujan Samaj Party, was from Punjab, and that's where he began. Even he did not succeed in Punjab. He had to move to UP where he had his big successes. So there was no, even study of how these things work. Right. And the rest. The Aam Aadmi Party now will be on test. It's, Bhagwant Man, whom I have watched in Parliament with on many occasions, will be the next chief minister. It's an experiment. Let us see how that works out.
Right. Thanks, Smita, for weighing in. Let's go across to Dr. Anshul Avijit, National Spokesperson, Congress. Dr. Avijit, while you heard our guests on the panel saying that it was a big gamble, or somebody's calling it a mistake of not basically listening to Captain Amrinder Singh and changing the chief minister, while the other side says that there was a deep sense of resentment. Amrinder Singh was not accessible to his own staff, to his own party members, and there was a big showdown that happened between him and Sidhu. Asides that, now, Mirror now focused on a coverage that was based on people's issues. We focused on the urban centers. We spoke to voters across Punjab, across all states, and we spoke to them about their issues. Now, most of them spoke about the common thread that bound all of them was jobs. There are no jobs. After COVID, there was so much crisis. The small businessmen were suffering. We spoke to a lot of people. Not many reforms were taken as far as education is concerned. No reforms as far as healthcare is concerned. For the benefit of our viewers, could you help us understand the kind of steps the Congress government took in Punjab in order to address these concerns?
Yeah, well, a lot of Punjab is agricultural.
Yes.
Look, the problem of unemployment is because of the failure of the macroeconomic failure of the policies of this government at the center, particularly after the pandemic, and even before it, where you have something like demonetization and then the kind of shoddy rollout of the GST. I mean, we know how it all panned out, and that affected the jobs. I mean, the GDP now has been revised. Pre-pandemic GDP has been revised. I don't want to go too much into economic detail, but since you asked that question, has been now revised to less than 4%. And there are people who are saying that actually, because all other indicators were in the negative territory pre-pandemic, the GDP was also negative. We were hit contraction even before the pandemic, and this affected every part of India, including Punjab. So this is a gross failure of the macroeconomic policy of the central government out there. After Mr. Channi took over, there were a series of measures that he did, including for the farmers as well. The farmers have been at the forefront of this agitation because on one hand, you had a terrible economic fallout. There was uncertainty and anxiety. On the other hand, you had these farm laws which compounded that anxiety. And therefore, I mean, these farmers were not out braving hail and shine out in Delhi's borders for nothing. But they were there because there was a degree of uncertainty, and immediately there was a series of things that the Punjab government did, including lowering of tariffs, waiver of farm loans that were done by the Channi government.
It has emerged as a big issue, something that we also found in our reports. Interesting point. We are also joined by Tausifur Rahman, who's a political analyst on the broadcast too. But before that, I want to once again go back to Smita Gupta. Ms. Smita, now, we had also seen that Congress party raised passions on farm bills against the BJP, but now it seems that both stand to lose if these projections are true. Even that didn't work for both these political parties. Maybe the people of Punjab were looking for something different and something that Aam Aadmi Party offered to them.
Well, the thing is that if you remember, Captain Amrinder Singh had said that he would talk to the center and try and get them to take the farm bills back. Number two, Captain Amrinder Singh had an excellent equation with the major farm groups that were taking part in the agitation. Eventually, of course, the BJP did take back the farm laws, which kind of neutralized what Captain Amrinder Singh said. But it didn't make any traction it didn't gain the BJP anything at all, because you can see from this exit poll that the BJP is almost a wipeout, and that it was only able to do well when it was in combination with the Akali Dal. So I think that nevertheless, Captain Amrinder Singh still had some equation with the farming groups. Number two, when the Congress removed him, they allowed Sidhu free play. I mean, there was Sidhu who was taking pot shots at Amrinder Singh. They allowed him free play. Then there was Sidhu taking pot shots at Channi. He was given a free hand. I mean, the Congress has to get its house in order, and even if it wishes to make a change, it must do it in a proper way. It has just ended up I mean, I don't say that it would have won this election. Certainly not. I think the Aam Aadmi Party, there was already a kind of ruption in Punjab where people were fed up of the establishment parties, but it need not have done so poorly. I'm pretty sure under Captain Amrinder Singh, it would have been a respectable second instead of being, distant second.
Okay.
This is something party has to learn how it treats its leaders and how it goes about its business. And Sidhu, I mean, that was just shocking the way he was allowed. What justification can there be to allow somebody in the party who you did not eventually make chief ministerial contender? You have allowed him free play, taking pot shots at everybody else. I mean, what is the explanation? What explanation does the Congress...
So Sidhu experiment probably didn't work out, Archana. That's what the numbers are trying to suggest. And it seems that what happened with Captain Amrinder Singh has not really gone down very well with the loyal vote bank of the Congress party. And that's why we are seeing this kind of a change in the politics of Punjab. If these numbers are to go by, I have to repeat that again and again, because these are not final results we're talking about. These are only projections.